Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the HPC number C107. This is a code card. This is for the Blitz machine, the 1200 machine that has an X and Y dial on it, basically. That allows you to move the carriage in an X and Y dimension, spacing, and then depth. And the entire principle of the Blitz machine is that you have basically a couple of needles that allow you to set the carriage, for depth, X and then Y, so that the needle reads the proper position on the card. You will then, run the depth to create the cut, and that's how that system works. HPC is not the only company to have a machine like this, but they're the one that really everyone knows. And speaking of the Blitz machine, and there are other key cutting machines as well in the locksmithing world, as I'm sure in being a mechanic, an auto mechanic, a dentist, there are lots of tools to do many jobs. There is a job that you could probably use many tools to do, but in locksmithing, there's always one tool that you can classify as best for the job, even though you can do it other ways. There's one tool, and the problem with that thought process is, I believe it's true, but when you extrapolate that out, it ends up meaning you have a lot of tools, and that Blitz machine is really great at a particular job. It's great at originating a key. But conversely, it would be awful at duplicating keys. You can originate a key, but you wouldn't, if you had 10 keys to make that were all the same key, you would make the first one on the Blitz machine, check it, and then move it to your, manual or semi-automatic machine. And this Blitz machine operates on a code card principle. You slide that into the front of the machine, and then you work those needles the way that you need. You set the spacing, and then you set the depth. This happens to be a card for National Cabinet Lock, right up here. That's the information about the card. Every single card that you look at from HPC is going to be chock full of all of the data that they are able to provide about that system that you're working on. Every area on the card is a specific area that speaks to the science of the platform of the key system. So this is a National Cabinet Lock letterbox card. Right here, it's a C107. Okay, that's the part number of the card. It's a C107. It also tells you the .027 diameter pins right underneath here. It's giving you important data about the key system. On the card itself, going to get it to focus again. And we can just switch to the screen view where I have a photograph of the item. Over here, you've got the depth and spacing data. DSD, depth and spacing data. They have charts that I will show you where you can get that information. So they're giving you, of this National Cabinet Lock, on the far right side, you go from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's where the data starts. So obviously there are 5 depths in this system, in both imperial and metric. Then you have the spacing. So if you look at the .150 in the first space, you then look at the next one below it, 255, well that's .105. If you look at the .360 minus .255, well, that's .105. It's .105 from the center of this cut to the center of this cut. So now you've got more information. The bottom line is, having the depth and spacing data would theoretically allow you to, with a caliper and a file, create your own key, because you would measure off the shoulder of the key to that first cut. Okay, and it says on there what the first cut dimension is. 0.150. Okay, so you go 150 thousandths over, and then let's say that you're going to do a 3 depth, you go 0.193 deep. You would take your file and you would file it till your root diameter was 0.193. Yeah, exactly. So just a important thought about this depth if you're not a locksmith or someone who, who doesn't spend a lot of time just working on key systems. We think of the depth of the cut as from the top of the blade to how deep it is. Well, in the locksmithing world, the depth of the cuts usually, some of us are probably most familiar with, the bigger the number, the deeper the cut. 5 is a bigger number than 2. 5 would be a deeper cut. That's not true of all systems. ASA is, I believe, I've spent a very long time studying locksmithing principles, and I'm pretty sure it's ASA that's backwards. From what we understand, I'm quite convinced it is. So a 9 would be a very shallow cut, and a 2 would be a very deep cut. But on this card, it's what we call the root depth, the bottom of the blade to the depth of the cut. So you've got a blade height, okay? Then you've got your cut. They're not measuring from here to the bottom of the cut. They're measuring from the bottom of the blade to the bottom of the cut. That's what we call the root depth, and that is what is here, okay? Those depths. So now you got a ton of information. I mean, a fortune of information there. This also tells you that you need an A-jaw in your machine, okay? So if you were to look up the manual for your Blitz, it'll tell you about the A-jaw. Then it tells you that you need a CW 1011 cutter. There are different cutters used. You got to have that cutter. Your cuts are going to look like this. It gives it a symbology of what your system looks like. It tells you that your DSD is the number 375. I'll point that out to you, meaning there is a packet of, there are 100+ pages of depth and spacing data for all different manufacturers. If you were to go to the DSD 375 and that figurative packet, which is now just a PDF, you'll find everything that's on this card. Tells you what blanks you could use. A 1069 LB, I believe that's Kaba Ilko. We can look that up as well. The Kaba Ilko key blank catalog has a conversion chart. So depending, and I don't know who D4292 or NA12 is. NA12 is probably the original blank from National Cabinet Lock. I'll pull that out. Okay. Now, very interestingly, it gives you a depth increment and a space increment. I had already told you it was 105. I was just doing the math between that number and that number. The depth increment, you can take a 4, you could take a 3 minus a 4, and you're going to get 0.018. That's the difference between one cut and the next in terms of depth. It's 0.018. So it's just a ridiculous amount of helpful information literally on the card. You don't need to go to the depth and spacing data when you have the card. So the card is not only allowing you to cut the key, the card is giving you all the science behind the keying system itself. Okay. Now let's switch to the screen view and let's take a closer look at all the supporting information. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Okay, here's the item that we are looking at. National Cabinet Lock letterbox. Very often the question is, I have this lock, or I have this make and model and year of car. Which card do I need? I won't profess expertise in that department, but the depth and spacing charts, which I'll show you, will also help with that. Let's look at some photographs we have down below. This picture would just allow you to basically, study it, is the bottom line. And actually, I want to open up the Kaba Ilko catalog, and we'll leave that catalog open and parked so we can review it. Okay, so I won't go through this again, just showing you that it's all here. And then finally, an image of the entire card itself. Okay. Just, not that it really matters, but a size, it's about 5 1/4 inch tall and about 4 1/8 inch wide. Doesn't really matter, but there it is. So, let's dive into some extended exploration of the resources. There's a link below this video here to the manufacturer's page. From there you can pull up not only all of the HPC products we sell by means of this horizontal navigation here, but also a link to the manufacturer's website and their full product catalog. First, let's dive into the depth and spacing data. If you recall, it said DSD 375 right there. So let's open up the DSD by number. Do a find function on your keyboard for 375. Probably going to be a lot of matches for 375, but there it is. National Letterbox gives you all of the depth and spacing data for National Letterbox, but it also tells you that if you are using their 1200 PCH, the punch machine, that's the, pardon me. Oh, okay. They're telling you that they don't have a card for the punch machine. It's strange that they have a punch for that. It must be the generic punch that's in there that will cut many things. The die set, basically. So if you're looking for a National Letterbox for your punch machine, it doesn't exist. But as you go through here, you can study this, but it's also listed by manufacturer as well here. So now it's alphabetical. Let's just pick the, let's just pick Arrow, and you've got depth and spacing data for Arrow. Small format is here. C3 card with a CW90MC cutter. You need the A jaw. Tip stopped with that. Very interesting. That's your depth and spacing data. Now, we also talked about these somewhat unknown key blanks. Let's take 1069LB because I think it's Kaba Ilko. I opened up the Kaba Ilko catalog, and you can find that from manufacturers, wherever you see manufacturers, and then do a Control F for Kaba Ilko. Click on the manufacturer's page. Key blank catalog is here. I think it's actually here as well for some reason. But when you open that document up, Control F 1069LB, is that what it was? Yeah, indeed, 1069LB. 1069LB. So there it is. It comes up 15 times, in fact, that key blank. And as we continue to click through it, now we're in the National Cabinet Lock. Okay, so it's an NA12. That's going to be the Kaba Ilko Easy number. And that's going to account for that. But the D4292, I'm not sure what that is. But let's just keep searching, because what we're going to get into is going to be a cross-reference. So an ALBA key blank to the Ilko is an R66. I'm not familiar with ALBA. You got a 1069LB, an NA12, and that's going to be the coal part number. Okay. There's a Dominion cross-reference. There's an ESP cross-reference. There's an Ilko Easy cross-reference, the Easy number, of course. A Jet cross-reference. Everybody makes this. The oh, that's what it is. The National Cabinet, the original is the 4292. That's the original part number. Orion to Ilko. You get the concept. Silka, Star, and Taylor. Okay? Lots of people make this key blank. The point is, you can use this document to find out those part numbers for those other manufacturers' key blanks that are the same blank. What I'm driving at is HPC is telling you these are the blanks that we know will work. Turns out many more blanks will work, but of all of those companies that we went through, I doubt any of them, except a couple of them, are still in business making key blanks. So, super great information. Now, back to the item we're working on. There's a link below this video here to the manufacturer's page, where you can pull up not only all of the HPC products that we sell, as I had said earlier, but you're going to want to look at the product catalog. And very, very much like I had said earlier, for every job there is one tool that is going to be best suited for it. So as you're working as a locksmith, or even someone who works in the world of locksmithing, I wouldn't say as a novice, because we deal with locksmithing here every day, but we're not a lock shop. We're a door and hardware distributor. But we service our clients as it comes to the mechanical keying and electronic keying of it as well. The point is that this catalog is here that will allow you to look at all of their tools, of which some of them are the best suited. There's their computer-driven Tiger Shark, their CodeMax, a lot of key machines. These are key machines that you'll see in places. And there's your Blitz. I've been to the national convention for Aloha. There's not a single lock shop that doesn't own a Blitz, as far as I'm concerned, that I've ever seen. Kaba Ilko did make a machine like this, but it's been discontinued for a while. Switch Blitz machine. I can't speak as to the differences. I'd have to study the two. I've never seen a Switch Blitz. Now, there's the punch machine, by the way, the PCH. As you scroll through, you're going to see, of course, all of their locksmithing, key cutting, key duplicating equipment, accessories for that. These are the jaws. You keep going through, and you'll get to the software that you can use to derive bidding lists. I would suggest that you understand the science of locksmithing before you delved into buying software. You'll get into locksmithing tools, picks, rakes, accessories. You're going to get into security hardware as well, latch guards, cylinder rings, cylinder guards, key cabinets, obviously. So a really handy document to be able to review. Okay, let's wrap up this video on camera. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. I think the last thing I'd like to mention about HPC is the fact that you can be a working locksmith. You can be an extremely talented locksmith. As you go through your career, you will always encounter situations where you need to reach out to the factory. The extremely talented locksmith, probably less so than the rest of us. But the fact of the matter is, you'll need to ask the factory, I need help. You know, which code card do I need for an 87 Nissan? That kind of question goes to the factory. It's not published. You know, I don't know as much about automotive that is what it would take to answer that question on my own. The item that I'd like to report is their technical service. Their customer service basically answers every technical question that I've ever posed, and only one time was the nature of my question sophisticated enough where I needed to be escalated to, you know, someone who works with a caliper all day long. The point of all of this is that the responsiveness is thorough. It's complete. It's predictable, dependable, and reliable. 100% of the time that I've sent a question to the factory over the years, decades, they've responded 100% of the time. And for that, to them, I say thank you. Any questions on the C107 code card for National Cabinet Lock or any other HPC product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up. Please subscribe and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.